Welcome. The video you're about to view is from my third period AP Language and Composition / Dual Enrollment Comp 1 class. My name is Justin Templet, and I teach this class in addition to English 3 at Chalmette High School in St. Bernard Parish. The students in this class are a combination of sophomores and juniors. What you're going to witness today is our study of Streetcar Named Desire. And even though my class is focused on composition, which centers around primarily rhetoric and argument and how we as English speakers compose these using our language tools, I often teach literature in addition because students are able to identify these rhetorical decisions in these fiction texts. And so we see it in a story that's engaging and then are able to pull it, these ideas, these techniques, into analyzing nonfiction writing and then, of course, incorporating it into our own to kind of elevate our communication and persuasive skills. While there is no set curriculum, as a dual enrollment class, I am able to develop myself and have done so over the last several years. What I do follow are the tenets and the objectives of the College Board for AP Language and Composition, which are based primarily on reading and communication skills. Our objective for this study, we're reading Scene 3, the famous Stella balcony scene. We will analyze the ways in which fictitious characters communicate with one another to persuade, and then determine whether or not these rhetorical decisions are effective. What's so important to me about this course is that it's open to any students at Chalmette High School who want to engage in this collegiate, academically challenging material despite their age being 2 to 3 years younger than your traditional undergraduate. And for me, that is so important because I am so passionate about creating more opportunities for academically gifted learners and just students who desire to achieve.
If he's saying that to him, what is he kind of implying or trying to, how do you say, create about Mitch? What kind of impression is he giving? He's insulting him, right? And he's saying, he's infantizing him. What'd you say, Tania?
Like he sucks on tits.
Yeah, essentially, who would want candy?
A baby.
A baby, right? He's making fun of him.
I would have felt so offended because y'all married and y'all parents either dead or they don't care about y'all, and mine do. So don't talk down on me because my mama's sick and she needs me. Because y'all parents don't need y'all.
Okay. That is the thing. Mitch is different. How have we established, and this is thought question 1 if we want to answer it ahead of time, how is Mitch different than the other man? He what? He's very emotional to a degree.
He lives with his mom. He's not married.
He's not married, right? And we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, that it's not that abnormal that he's 30 at this time and lives at home. If you're unmarried, he would still live at home. Especially now that his mother's older and sick, he is tending to her. Does everyone agree with Janiyah that Stanley is being just insulting here and really rude and upsetting to Mitch?
Yes.
Yeah. He's the only one that's not facetious. The only one that's not playful.
So the other one, you say the other men are being playful with Mitch.
Yeah.
Okay. What indicates that to us? That Stanley is, in a way, even maybe seemingly playful or being facetious, actually being critical of Mitch.
Everyone else is making short, witty remarks. He's just going off and insulting.
He just keeps going.
He doesn't shut up.
Do Mitch. Give him a break.
And same thing, how does Mitch respond? Notice he responds to it when he's saying to Steve. How does Mitch respond?
He wants validation. He's explaining why.
He defends himself. Evidence and commentary, right? He is flat out saying, hey, y'all are married. But I'll be alone when she goes, so we're getting again.
Stanley told me to just go shut up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Said that it kind of felt sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's a drive that he has. You're standing in the light, Blanche.
Let's pause. Do you agree with Stella
What?
about Stanley?
No.
That
drive?
he's the only person to make it somewhere, and she says, how can you tell? Look at him.
No.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? Or no?
Kind of, because he like asserts his
He
dominance.
seems like
He-
stupid, but he seems like has a lot of will.
I encourage you, let's turn back to, not time, but the pages, to scene 1, when we are first introduced to Stanley again after Blanche arrives.
What page?
We are going to be on page...
18, she talks about him being a different species.
Not even them talking. No, let's go to page 24.
I got hope in Mitch. I think he's gonna be better than Stanley, even
Thanks,
for his
thanks.
mama.
Huh?
I said thanks.
Let's look. Kids, I'll go to my stage directions. Stage directions. Do you mind reading the stage directions at the very bottom of the page?
More laughter and shouts of parting come from the men. Stanley throws the screen door of the kitchen open and comes in. He is of medium height, about 5 feet 8 or 9, and strongly, compactly built. Animal joy in his being is implicit in all his movements and attitudes. Since earliest manhood, of the center of his life has been pleasure with women, and giving and taking of it, not with weak indulgence, dependently, but with the power and pride of a richly feathered male bird among hens, branching out from this complete satisfying center of all the auxiliary channels of his life, such as his heartiness with men, his appreciation of rough humor, his love of a good drink and food and games, his car, his radio, everything that is his and bears his emblem of the gaudy sea bearer. He sizes women up at a glance with sexual classifications, crude images flashing into his mind and determining the way he smiles at them.
So what they saying is he's sexually attracted, so they're gonna get him somewhere?
Maybe.
That's what I'm getting at.
Who is saying that? Who is making that claim there?
The stage direction.
The author.
Let me see what it is, right? Because who is he addressing there? Who is his audience? Readers, of course. But if we think even further, of course, we're secondary readers. Who is that primary audience?
Blanche.
Think of what
Blanche?
text this is. Who is it originally written for?
New Orleans.
Huh?
Actors?
Actors and directors. So he's saying it as fact, right? So let's go back to page 53. Is Stella, can we believe Tennessee Williams and say that Stella is accurate here?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
With her arms around Stella, Blanche guides her to the outside door and upstairs. Dully, sorry.
What's the matter? What's happened?
You just blew your top, Stan.
He's okay now.
Sure, my boy's okay.
Put him on the bed and get a wet towel.
I think coffee would do him good. Would do him a word of good. World. Okay, I'm gonna restart that.
Go ahead,
I
Howell.
think coffee would do him a world of good now.
Thickly.
What diction stands out to you about the way the men are talking to Stanley? What does their kind of specific word choices have in common?
They're talking to him like a female. Like they're.
Maybe.
I think they're scared of him, honestly.
Well, why should they be scared of him right now?
He just tried to attack her, huh?
He slammed, he punched her.
Oh.
He just beat his wife. Let's be clear on that.
Wait, back up. Blanche said she's having a baby.
Yeah.
Did you do your homework over the weekend? Why does Blanche say that?
Because she's pregnant.
She's Stella's pregnant.
I wouldn't be like that, Mr. Templet.
It's on camera. Everybody, all of the state's gonna know.
Oh
You didn't
my
do your
God,
homework.
no.
Yes, she's pregnant.
And he just hit her?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But no, what else kind of like, think about what Mitch says, Pablo, and Steve here. What
Oh.
do their sentiments their statements have in common? What
Like,
specific
they're
diction?
downplaying what happened.
They sound like
Downplaying.
they're like performing surgery, like it's happened before.
Like something happened
Definitely
to
happened
him. Like
Right.
something happened to him.
But say, Tania, can you restate what you said?
They're comforting.
Comforting him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, my boy's okay. It's like, I think a cup of coffee would do him a world of good now.
Acting like he's the victim.
We're getting positive diction after this very negative action. So let's start. Stanley's awoken now.
Put him under the shower.
The men talk quietly as they lead into the bathroom.
Let the rut go of me, you sons of bitches.
Sounds of blows are heard. The water goes on full tilt.
Let's get quick out of here.
They rush to the poker table and sweep up their winnings on their way out, sadly but firmly.
Poker should not be played in a house with women.
The door closes on them and the place is still. The black entertainers of the bar around the corner play paper doll, slow and blue. After a moment, Stanley comes out of the bathroom, dripping water, still in his clinging wet polka dot drawers.
So what has changed in Stanley's appearance?
He's naked now.
He's in just his wet underwear, right?
Growing commando.
Stella,
There's a pause.
my baby doll's left me.
He breaks into sobs and then he goes to the phone and dials, still shuddering with sobs.
Eunice, I want my baby.
He waits a moment and then he hangs up and dials again.
Eunice, I'll keep on ringing until I talk with my baby.
The indistinguishable, shrill voice is heard. He hurls the phone at the floor. Dissonant brass and piano sounds as the room dim out to darkness and the outer walls appear in the nightlight. The blue piano plays a brief interval. Finally, Stanley stumbles half-dressed out to the porch and down the wooden steps of the pavement before the building. There he throws a brick back at his head and baying.
Bellows. Oh, baying, yes.
And a baying hound and bellows his wife's name. Stella, Stella, sweetheart, Stella.
Let's have Oni do that part.
Good sweetheart Stella.
Yes, Stella, sweetheart, Stella.
Stella! Stella, sweetheart, Stella! Stella!
Ah!
Thank you for taking the time to watch my lesson. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing it. First, were my objectives met? I would say yes, as a whole. And I base that first on what you've seen a little bit of this seminar style learning, where the students are the ones engaging with one another, while I may be the one who's prompting them with questions that I've analyzed beforehand and determined. They're the ones feeding off of one another and responding to each other's ideas. And I think you saw a good amount of crosstalk in this lesson. Further, for homework or after the lesson, they had to complete what I call thought questions, which are further questions that address the ideas we've discussed in class and then having to take their analysis further. And they completed that for homework last night. So not only am I seeing the ideas we've discussed, but now they're having to apply it in a written form. There were 6 questions and they had to respond to each with a paragraph. Looking back, I've realized that I definitely could use a little more wait time and selectively kind of maybe moderate discussion more so that everyone's voices are heard equally. And I think some of that comes down to just the passion that I have for teaching this book, that you see the students' excitement. I get wrapped up in it as well and sometimes neglect the idea of let's slow it down and maybe temper our excitement a little bit. Something else that you may want to know before we conclude is that it looks like there aren't very many students in the class. If it's important to remember that this lesson occurred during the Omicron outbreak, so we're missing probably in this group we were missing about 6 students. And how do I know they're meeting the objectives at home? Not only am I providing on our learning management system everything for them to do, all of the discussion-based things that I have written for myself, I have annotated in my text. Just pulling it out for you. I have made a separate document and to kind of simulate the discussion and have shared it with them to kind of work through independently. And when they do return,